May the words of my mouth and the meditation of all our hearts be acceptable to you, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid. I hope you can hear those words. I hope that you can hold on to them and let them take root in you. I hope that they can be for you the basis from which you speak and act and live. Let them be the ears with which we listen. So every week as I begin thinking about my sermon and wondering what it is that God might be saying or might be asking me to say, I look around at my own life, and I look around at your lives, and I look around at the life of our community and our nation and our world. I look around trying to see how the gospel might intersect with what is happening around us. And I wonder how the gospel might guide us. What might the gospel be calling us to do? How might the gospel challenge us, or confront us, or comfort us? How might the gospel give us hope or encouragement? How might we embody and live out the gospel in the context of the world around us? Most weeks a sermon can go in a number of directions. But some weeks something happens. Sometimes a situation arises and the decision is made for me, and I cannot not preach about it. When I see injustice and fail to call it out, I betray Christ, I betray you, I betray my ordination vows, and we're living in the midst of one of those times. Times in which federal agents are arresting people under the cover of darkness, when law-abiding people are being picked up and disappeared with no due process, when justice and common decency are being denied and innocent victims are treated like violent criminals. In times such as these, we're left feeling anxious and overwhelmed and powerless. For today, some hearts are troubled. Some are afraid. Some are angry. Some are skeptical and cynical. Some are breaking with compassion, while other hearts are hardening. This is not a judgment about anyone. It's simply a recognition of what's happening and our need for the peace that Jesus promises. We need this peace within us and between us. And I wish I could stand here today and say that Jesus' peace will fix all the problems we're facing and make everything better. But I can't. And I don't think that that's really what Jesus' peace does anyway. His peace is not necessarily the absence or the cessation of conflict. It's not always the resolution of our problems or unanimity and agreement. Jesus' peace is about more what's going on within us than what's going on around us. I think that we all want a solution to the social concerns of our society. For most of us, though, a solution to conflict or injustice usually means that someone else needs to change what she or he says or does or believes. Jesus' peace is not about changing someone else, but about changing ourselves. We have no power to change anyone's heart but our own. Ours is the only heart that we can change. But I wonder if we're willing to let Jesus' peace change us. Are we willing to let it change our hearts? A heart at peace sees the humanity of others, even in the midst of conflict and disagreement. When my heart is at peace, the hopes and fears and concerns and needs of others are as real to me as my own. But when my heart is at war, the other is nothing more than an object or an issue or an obstacle to me. We're all given a choice. Will we live with our hearts at peace, or will we live with our hearts at war? That's the question each of us must answer, and we do. Every day we answer that question, and our answer determines our way of being toward others. How do we want to be toward each other and all others? How do we want to be toward the other, whether that other is a migrant or an ICE agent, a Democrat or a Republican? We can choose to continue arguing with each other about who's right or who's wrong, or what's the right or wrong thing to do. But the deepest way in which we're right or wrong is in our way of being toward others. We want to be right in how we are Jesus' heart and voice and hands and feet with others, as part of our mission statement reads. We want to live with a heart at peace. And that's not always easy. It means that we might have to make difficult changes in the ways that we think, in our attitudes, in how we speak, and in our actions. I don't have all the answers. I don't know when or how or even if it will all get better. But I do know this. Before those who are being further marginalized, before they were abducted and disappeared, before they were in any way othered or labeled, before any of that, they were, they are, they always will be human beings, sisters and brothers who are created in the image and likeness of the same God as you and me. And the same is true for the ICE agents and all who have been co-opted into the service of a corrupted regime. No one is immune from the injustice occurring in our world today. We're all affected, physically, emotionally, spiritually. We're all in need of Jesus' peace, and we are all challenged to take a stand and choose our side. I challenge us all to choose to be right in our way of being toward others, to choose to stand on the side of justice and humanity. After all, isn't that what the gospel calls us to do? Isn't that where Jesus stands? Over and over again, Jesus chose to be right in his way of being toward others. He stood with and reached out to those in need. He called the apostles to come away and rest for a while because they had no leisure even to eat. He had compassion on and fed the 5,000 when the disciples wanted to send them away to find food for themselves somewhere else. He identified himself with the hungry and the thirsty, and the stranger and the naked and the sick and the imprisoned, and said that what we do or do not do for them is what we do or do not do for him. He chose to touch those that the law had declared to be untouchable. He let his heart and mind be changed about the extent of his ministry and mission by a Syrophoenician woman, a foreigner, an outsider, someone he had called a dog. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid. This peace that Jesus gives is a call for us to be peace to others, to bring our peace into the midst of the chaos and conflict, to live with a heart of peace and be right in our way of being toward others. What might that look like for us today? Where and with whom is our heart at peace, and where and with whom is it at war? What would we need to do or change in order to be right in our way of being toward others? Toward migrants or ICE agents, toward Democrats and Republicans, toward each other, toward all those in positions of power whose ways do not look like Jesus. Peace I leave with you, my own peace I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid. Jesus has given us his peace. The question before us now is, what will we do with it? Amen.